Hello everybody, how's it going? Carl Screezilla, me, Carl Withy here, the commentator slash person, does commentary, does stuff, things, and things, does stuff and things. So yeah, tonight I am doing a broadcast of the Anzcar action. Yes, I'm going to be doing this one as FGM Ecast's headquarters is down and out, and she be pretty much dead. Unfortunately, we won't be broadcasting with the beautiful graphics of FGM Ecast tonight, but we will be broadcasting with the terrible graphics of Screezilla's channel. Alright, admin stuff having to be done. Sorry about that. Alright, okie dokie, let's get going. So, first of all, let's get rid of that. And you can see my beautiful face. Yes, it is me. It is Carl. Yes, this is what I look like. I know, it's terrible. It's shocking. It is horrendous. And don't worry, this will not be sitting here all night long. This is just here for us getting ready for the race tonight. We are here at Daytona International Speedway, of course. The fantastic spot. Fast motorsport action. It's going to be great to see. I might just move. I might just make that a little bit bigger. So timing and scoring screen there is just, as you can see, it's relatively large. No fancy graphics for me, because, you know, screw fancy graphics. I mean, you know, what is this? Some kind of like proper outfit? Nah, mate. She be wild and amateur, of course, the best kind of thing. So yeah, Daytona, we are here for the final round of the Anzcar action, actually. So we are in for the final tonight. So this is the final of the regular season, I should say. So that's the big thing tonight. It's the final of the regular season. So the standard season is coming to a close tonight, so we are heading off to the chase next week at Darlington. Of course, this is round 25 of the Cup Series. So, currently we have the leader, Josh Micklemore, on 814 points. Second place is Neil Pearson. He's 20 points behind. 27 points down is Hamish Gallagher, same as Skirley in joint third/fourth position. Jason Martin fifth, 55 off the lead. 72 points down is Daiso. In seventh we have Foster, 75 off the lead. Eighth is Danny G, 82. And ninth we have Luke Traher, 131. Fifth is Matty Ray, Mr. Clean, keeping it clean with 152 points off the lead, off the championship. So yeah, we have we have stuff there. We have things ready to go. We have everything raring and racing and doing stuff and things, yo, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's practice obviously at the moment, so we're practicing getting ready for the actual start of the race. Of course, we are looking at I don't even know how many laps we're doing tonight because I forgot to look. 80 laps tonight, so 80 laps of the race tonight, so that should be fun. We'll probably be looking at a couple of stops here because fuel-wise it won't last too long. And of course I'm drinking tea at the moment because I am essentially a English stereotype. So, as I said, this one's going to be a bit more of a laid-back stream rather than anything too serious. So, don't worry, if you want to have a bit of fun tonight, let me know. Obviously, this is my channel, so we'll try not to get myself blacklisted from YouTube. I mean, obviously, I would prefer to stay alive on YouTube. That would be preferable. You know, it's kind of useful if I can actually not get kicked off of YouTube, I guess. Because, yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice, indeed. Alrighty, so I'm going to disappear from the screen now, so I will catch you guys Oh, actually, I might stay up a little bit longer because I want to advertise myself because I look beautiful. So this season's been fantastic. So this is the end of the regular season, of course. We will be going into the chase next at Darlington. Of course, that is also the chance for Skirley to wrap it up and get his big trophy, of course. So will Skirley be able to do it? That's the big question. And will he take out the fantastic win there? Let's focus on the most exciting at the moment. So, as you can see, I've not got anything else on screen at the moment. It's not got fancy stuff, unfortunately. I'm just using my JRT for timing, and yeah, it's pretty, as I said, this is a pretty how's it going, mate, stream. So, should be laid back and ready to roll. Should be pretty fun, at least. I think we've got Danny G running a slightly different paint job tonight as well, just to throw us out in the 24. Mitch Motorsport car, yeah, he is running his alternate paint job tonight, so not in the orange, so that's going to throw me out. Thanks so much for that, Danny G. That is much appreciated. That's really going to help us out tonight. It's going to be fun, because I love not knowing people's paint schemes. It makes calling it so much easier as well, you know. It just makes knowing what's going on so much easier. Alright, tea is done. Okay, so we are a couple of minutes out from the race, so I'm going to disappear so you've got more screen to see. Obviously, drivers, I will mention who we're looking at. Obviously, I don't have the full on-screen display, so I do apologise about that. You'll just have to make do with what we've got. All right, guys, let's get on. Let's go racing. So, as they grid up, let's go through the grid as it stands. So, Jason Martin is going to be on pole position with Hamish Gallagher next to him. Second row is Paul Jackson and Scott Griffiths. Third row, Ruben Phelps with Stephen Williams. Fourth row is Neil Pearson, Raymond Yeager. Fifth, we have Jaden Russell, Luke Trahere. Sixth is Riley Curtis, Daniel Hedesheed. Seventh, we have Stockton and Clark, Norman Clark. Eighth, Danny G and Jackson Callow. Ninth, we have Foster and Worley. 10th is Skirley and Schultz. 11th is Jones and Walden. 12th is Patton and Neal. Dortnack Douglas. Dyson, Micklemore, Maddie Ray and Phil Otto line up the back of the grid. So let's scooch forward to... let's actually get on the front row. Let's click on to Mr. Martin. Jason Martin leading the way. It is a Mitch 1-2 at the front. This is going to help him out, of course. Super speedways, it is always useful to have that double row lined up. So she should be good. And she should be running well, hopefully. So this is going to help them out a lot, because obviously when you have that front row lockout, you're going to be able to dictate the pace a little bit too. So it does help things out in that respect. So always useful to have that front row lockout, because yeah, especially on a super speedway, it can make things that little bit easier. So let me know in the comments as well if there's anything that needs to be done, because I am pretty much flying solo tonight. Hopefully the audio balance is all okay. But we are going to be with Jason Martin. I've got it on TV mixed at the moment, so the cameras are going to do whatever the heck they want to do. So we'll leave that as it is. Martin is going to lead away here. This is good for him, and of course Mitch Motorsport, as I said, Hamish Gallagher is going to look for a better night than he had last night in the Xfinity series, where some absolute idiot madman took him out. What a useless driver that guy must have been. Yeah. Sorry about that, Hamish. Alright, shouts to Japet. Pace car is about to come in here at Daytona. We're about to go for our first lap. And away we go for the round 20 something of Daytona, round 24 I think. What did I say it was before? Round 26 of Daytona. Martin gets a good lead. You can see that high line's holding up pretty high there. Paul Jackson just tucking in below him there. You can see just back there. JCW, I think I was making a move in position. Sorry, that was just looking, that was Jaden Russell. Sorry, just moving down on the line a little bit there. Right down the bottom, we have got one of the cars dropping out of line. I think that might be Riley Curtis there, just moving down a little bit further. So Riley Curtis just dropping out of position a little bit there. That's just going to move him down a tiny bit. I might just quickly... move that a little bit, so... there we go, so we can actually see the laps there. There we go. Alright, okay, that'll make it a little bit easier. They've got a single line forming at the front. Jason Martin forming that single line. Second line has dropped back quite a lot. Hamish Gallagher falling all the way back there. Jason Martin getting a great lead here in the Daytona round of the Cup. You can just see he is absolutely flying along at the moment on that bottom line, doing a great job there at the moment. Paul Jackson looking to try and make a move as it stands. As we go a little bit further back, we can see Hamish Gallagher leading that second line. He has got Scott Griffiths in behind him in the number 5 at the moment. That high line isn't working out for them too well at the moment. A few cars have dropped back as well a little bit further down the field, as you can see. A few of them being Riley Curtis, Matty Raymond, Phil Otto have dropped back a fair bit, just keeping out of trouble at the moment. A good idea here at Daytona. We have been clean so far though. Good couple of clean opening laps, but the cars are getting a little bit squirrely now. This is where you've got to watch out. When you get the aero wash going over the cars, it can become quite tricky as you drive along here. I'm just going to mix to TV3, I think. So yeah, the aero wash can catch you out a little bit sometimes because it is a little bit tricky. You can see the cars just moving around. Daniel, the 035 there of Hennessy just having a little bit of a wobble. Norman Clark there behind him as well. So Natari Autosport trying to get their cars in a line, trying to actually get into good positions at the moment. But it's not that easy. Foster has made his way up 7 positions, same as Danny G. Those guys working very well. They managed to stay on that bottom line, and it is really paying off for them at the moment. That bottom line is working well. Highline seems to be struggling a fair bit at the moment in this opening stage. But don't worry, that highline will probably come good a little bit later on. Hamish Gallagher just keeping it back a little bit. Nobody from that low line looking to jump up there. So everybody is just keeping a charge at the moment. This is probably bad news for Jason Martin, of course, because as you're leading the line, it is going to mean you're going to be chewing up a fair bit more fuel than you would be normally. So Jason Martin is going to be using a little bit more fuel than he would expect to. So that makes things a little bit more interesting there. So that will come into effect a little bit later on in the race. Of course, what you can do when you're actually driving in a the toe of another car, when you're driving behind another car here at Daytona, is you can run at a lower throttle. So we'll jump back to, not the pace car, we'll jump back to Neil Pearson, I'll go with. And we'll flick through until we can get on the cockpit. So if we listen to Pearson here, probably just hear him lifting off a little bit just as he's coming along, just because you're sitting in the draft, so you don't have to be full throttle, and that helps you out an enormous amount because you can just save a little bit more fuel. So as you're going through the corners, you can just let the car breathe a little bit. So there you go, he's just lifting off a tiny bit there. But if we jump forwards to Jason Martin, you can hear that car is pretty much full throttle. Not much you can do at the front of the field. You can't really fuel save at all. So that's going to be the problem Jason Martin's going to have. Same for his teammate Hamish Gallagher, I was going to say, but he has jumped back in line. So let's jump back to the TV cameras. It's number 5, Scott Griffiths, that's now in that top line, that high line at the moment. He's going to be the one that's going to be breaking the air, just coming through the aero wash and just using his car to punch a hole in the air for the rest of those guys. That top line is not working out for them at the moment. You can see the 98 of Steve W, Steve Williams there, Luke Traher and Hennessy as well, just running in that high line. Martin, meanwhile, still commanding up the front. So this early on, of course, you can basically just relax a little bit, not too much to worry about. just go easy at this stage of the race. But a little bit later on is where it's going to cause trouble. You know, Martin will have to pit a lap or 2 laps earlier than the rest of the field while he's being in the lead. So this is where fuel strategy does come into play, and it is a crucial part of the old mix. So expect to see that being a major part of this race, playing out quite a big way as we go on in this race. We have done 8 laps now. We've got 72 remaining. Martin in the lead in the 21. Paul Jackson having a great run up there in 2nd place. Really good run from Paul there. Nice to see him up in the higher places of the Artori Autosport team. Trying his best to get a good run. His teammate Barry Neal down in 17th at the moment. A few positions are swapping and changing though, as of course you can see that Highline is starting to try and push its way forwards now. Not having the easiest run though. Scott Griffiths up on that Highline still, just trying his best to push his way through. I think it might have actually switched, no, still Scott Griffiths, sorry, up on that Highline. So he's really trying his best to take advantage of that, trying his best to actually get a little bit more speed up there, trying to get a few more cars to help him out there, but they just can't seem to make it work. So obviously Highline in the Cup cars is not working as well as it was in the Xfinity cars last night. Last night we did see the Xfinity cars running, of course, and you will be able to catch highlights of that on FGM eCast, your place for e-pace, and of course the regular home of the Anzcar action. We will, of course, be back there shortly. Stuart just having to rebuild the old studio, getting into his new area, refurbishing a few bits and bobs, but we will be back to normal proceedings. So far, Martin's got a good break, actually. He's managed to get a break over Neil Pearson. 3 cars getting out ahead. That's Phelps, Jackson and Martin at the moment, managing to get a good little bit of pace, breaking away from the field a bit now. Sorry, I had that scrolled down a little bit, so that was wrong on timing screens. But those 3 cars have actually managed to break the toe a little bit from Neil Pearson. They're running away a little bit with themselves, trying to get a little bit of a gap, which is not a bad thing. You can see a second little pack forming with Pearson, Russell and Jaeger as well. Then it falls back to Stockton. Hamish Gallagher a little bit on his own at the moment, with Danny G just behind him, and then Scott Griffiths up on that Highline at the moment. Scully just behind Edward Foster with his teammate Joshua Carroll Walden down there in 17th position. Cars are so close at the moment. Not much covering the whole field as it stands from 1st to 10th, barely a second covering them, and that's mainly because of the size of these Cup cars. Just their length, meaning that they are a little bit bringing that little bit of time. You can see that field starting to catch up to the back of Phelps now, but number 9 just getting closer to Phelps now and trying to get up underneath him. So those guys are getting back up there. With that little bit of a break in the pack, it gave Jaden Russell the chance to set the fastest lap of a 45.516. Just getting a little bit of clean air means you can use that toe. And we've got a caution. We've got a caution, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it looks like we have got Jackson Callow. We've got the 46 there as well. And I think I saw Stevie Dubb as well in all of that. So Stephen Williams as well. Let's see if we can rewind some time. Go back a little bit. See what happened with that accident. So it looks like... Let's have a bit of a look at this one. So it looks like somebody's lost it on the lower line in front of Stevie Dubb. It looks like Dave Douglas has just gone below the... just dipped below and onto the apron there, and that's just caused him to lose a little bit of control there. I think he just caught up to the back of Micklemore a bit faster than he expected, had to take a little bit of avoiding action, came up. Luke Traher got caught up in that, Mirko Dortnack as well. So those guys really getting caught up in that one. Big accident there. Quite a few cars taken out in that one, quite a big crash. We always expect them here at Daytona. Jackson Callow as well, unfortunately, in that one. Mirko Dortnack losing the whole front end. The guys that are running a bit further back, like Riley Curtis and Matty Raymond, though, did manage to avoid that accident. So good job from them. That is going to help them out a little bit. This caution will just let them breathe a little bit. Will we see everybody ducking into pit lane? Yes, we will. The field have come in Paul Jackson decides to stay out. He's going to roll the dice and keep it out a bit longer. Of course, fuel is critical in these moments. So Jackson deciding he's going to stay out there. Tyres, not a big issue here, of course. You don't get too much tyre wear here at Daytona. It's not generally a big issue. But a big issue when you got damage. So it's going to really affect those guys. Dave Douglas got very lucky to save his car. So they're just going to chuck some fuel in there. Doubt we'll see anybody putting tyres on. It's literally just going to be topping up the tanks and coming back out. Everybody bar Paul Jackson comes into pit lane. This is going to leave Paul Jackson out there leading the race with a slightly lighter car, but he is only going to have probably around about 20 laps of fuel left in that car. So that is going to make things a little bit tricky for him come towards the next stage. Of course, if we get a caution in 10-15 laps time, this will work out perfectly for Jackson, who will effectively gain the race lead. So looking through the field at the moment, big gainers. JCW gained 11 positions. Barry Neal as well in 13th position. So those guys doing a good job. Barry Neal, of course, teammate to Paul Jackson. So he's working his way up the field. We'll just wait for everything to start settling down a little bit. But it looks like Stevie Dub, Stevie Williams, Jackson Callow and Mirko Dornak are going to be out of this race, unfortunately, along with Phil Otto, who looks like he might have had technical issues once again. A real shame for Phil. Hopefully we can get him back to full strength sometime soon. So the race, as always, goes on, and Jackson is going to stick it out there. He's made his bed. He's now got to lay in it. So Stevie Dub, Steve Williams has managed to get back out of pit lane. So he's going to try and get back around the field. He's going to be missing that front end of the car, and so much repairs can be done in iRacing, of course. And that's really going to affect his top speed. Hopefully there's no engine damage. That's going to be the big determining factor for him. If you get engine damage, that is your night over and done with. Jackson Callow is back out there as well. Same for Mirko Dornak. Of course, points are important. Championship points are very important things to have. Pace car lights have gone out. Jason Martin has got the high line ahead of Neil Pearson. Low line belongs to Paul Jackson and Ruben Phelps. Going to be going for a little bit of a long time here as we get around to the start-finish straight. Of course, the pace car is going to do its job and lead the field around. This gives the drivers a chance to have a quick drink, quick relax, quick stretch, and get back to it. And you can see a little bit further back, Dave Douglas and it looks like Luke Trahere getting some repairs done as well. So, sorry, that was Scott Griffiths. Sorry, was it Scott Griffiths? Yes, it was Scott Griffiths. Yay, I love cars that have similar paint schemes. Yeah, look, they've just had some repairs done because of those little bits of damage. Not huge amounts on both of them. They managed to get away with it, quite luckily, so it's not too bad for them. But every little bit of damage counts, and it does not help. So Paul Jackson's going to lead away. He's going to get the restart here. How well will he be able to get away? How well is he going to work together with Ruben Phelps on that low line? Pace car comes in, and we're going to go back to green flag racing on lap 14 here for Daytona. And the Anzcar Cup, you can see Neil Pearson just getting a little bit of a 1-1 behind Jason Martin there. Jackson gets a good start. That high line needs to try and work hard. Jason Martin needs to try and get ahead of Jackson. Jackson is going to be a little bit lighter, but that's not going to make too much difference here. It's all about aero and speed, and that's what's helping them. That high line does not seem to like it at the moment. You can see the cars on the high line just getting very squirrely at the moment. Looks like the side draft is really affecting them quite hard. So definitely not the easiest place to be at the moment on that high line. Ruben Phelps sitting up there behind Paul Jackson. This is going to help them out as well as Neil Pearson. Neil Pearson slotting in there in third place. That's going to be a good spot for him. A little bit further back, you can see Jason Martin just starting to fall back a little bit. He's got Jaden Russell just on his 6 with Danny G there as well. He wants to try and link up with Danny G. If he can get in a line with Danny G and his teammate Hamish Gallagher, that will work out perfectly. There's a bit of a gap forming now from the front 3 back to back to the 28 there of Jaden Russell. So Jaden Russell's sort of got a little bit of a gap there. Foster moves up. Nice cheeky move by Foster to get into the high line there. He is going to try and link up with his teammates now. You can see a little bit of bump drafting going on between Jackson and Phelps at the front there. With bump drafting, what we're talking about in that respect is just when the car gets up behind him and just pushes them along effectively, just trying to get a little bit more speed. Foster is now taking control of that high line. That high line is dropping back a little bit though. You can see Foster, he got up in that high line and he's already dropped back quite a few positions. He was ahead of his teammate, Joshua Carroll Walden. Now he's fallen a fair bit behind. Excuse me while I cough. So you can see that high line is really struggling for speed at the moment. Just behind him is Barry Neal. He's worked his way up there, and that's good news for the Yatori Autosport team. They will want to try and link up with each other, and you can see people are abandoning that high line at a vast rate of knots. Foster may have made the wrong call by jumping up there. He thought he saw a good move, and he decided against it, and that has really not paid off for him. He was running up as high as 6th position, I think, and he's dropped all the way back to 15th now. He's dropped in that low line now. Jason Martin needs to do the same thing, but nobody's going to give him space at the moment. If Martin can just get ahead of that SRM car in front of him, he can make a chance. He can't though. Luke Traher now getting in the way. Jason Martin getting caught up here on that high line all along, and this is going to injure him so much. You can see just how much speed he's losing. He's dropping right to the back of the pack. This is disastrous for Jason Martin, and it is really going to hurt his race as the number 5 of Griffiths just gets past him. You can see those damaged cars have just got so much more speed than Martin, who just got hung out to dry there. Absolute disastrous restart for Jason Martin, and this is really interesting news for the rest of the drivers who now know that that high line is not a place to be. The low line is where all the speed is in these cup cars. Do not go high because you are going to struggle. So just looking throughout the field at the moment, it's pretty much single file at the moment. Norman Clark a little bit further off. There are a few cars that have dropped off the pace a little bit. Jason Martin included in that. He's fallen off behind Scott Griffiths at the moment, and he's going to start feeling like he's going to lose the draft if he gets too far back. Not what you want to do. He's just at that point at the moment where he will get a little bit of slipstream. He will be able to get back up there, but he is definitely struggling a little bit on that restart. You can see Double D, Dave Douglas, is driving that casting couch around at a great rate of knots. He's up in 21st position after that uncharacteristic mistake. He got away relatively scot-free with that one. He's going to hope that he can work his way back up the field and get another good finish like he had in the Xfinity cars, which is still waiting for final results. Meanwhile, you can see Jackson still in the lead here. Phelps just behind him. Up in the high line, we've got an SRM car. That's Matty Ray just getting up a little bit high, trying something a little bit different, trying to get somebody to start pushing up with him. Nobody wanting to join him. So he's going to drop back in front of Riley Curtis there. Just in front of him is the damaged car of, let's see who that is. I think that might be Philip Wally there. In the 233. So Philip Worley, you can see, has got a fair bit of front damage. That's not going to affect him too much, just sitting in there behind Aidan Schultz and Luke Traher at the moment. So those guys are sitting just in a relatively good position at the moment down there in 16th and 17th position as it stands. So things are not going too badly for them at the moment. It's all going okay for them. They're just going to want to sit back and just make sure things stay as they are. So the leader is still Paul Jackson. He's going to need a caution to come out to help him a little bit later in this race. Lap 22 at the moment. He's going to be hoping for a caution in probably about 4 or 5 laps. If that comes out, that's going to help him. Dave Douglas, meanwhile, a little bit further back, is trying to get that second row running up. You can see Jason Martin just behind him at the moment with Scotty Griffiths. Those 3 cars are trying to get the high line working. But again, it just isn't doing anything tonight. That high line is not wanting to run there. So they are really struggling at the moment. Dave Douglas is going to try again. He's just got Jason Martin behind him. They know they need to do something. Otherwise, they are going to fall back from the rest of the pack. Norman Clark, speaking of, has fallen back. He's got some damage on the back of his car. You can see Stevie Dub still keeping it out there. Same as Mirko Dortnack. Unfortunately, Jackson Callow has decided to call it a night. He has retired from the race. Second retirement from the race. We've got 28 cars still out there. You can see the field is starting to catch up to Mirko. So you'll see how quickly these cars in a pack catch up at the moment. Paul Jackson is running at a fairly hefty pace of around 310 kilometers per hour. Mirko Dortnack running around there at about 270 kilometers per hour. That's the difference of being in the pack, being out on your own, and of course having a front end to the car. Car's just starting to have to move out of position a little bit. Probably getting a little bit warm here tonight. Temperature-wise, it is 26 degrees out there, so it's not too hot, but it is warm enough to start causing problems for some of these guys as it goes on in the race. The more you stay in the draft, the worse it can get. That high line has decided to start coming out now. I think Ryan Jones has come up in the 111 entry there, just in front of Josh Mickelmore, and you can see Skurley just jumping up there as well. Michael Skurlock taking the lead of the line as they're just going to come through past Mirko Dortnack. They're going to go 3 wide here. This can be a moment that gets very tricky. 3 wide at Daytona is not a hard thing to do, but it is always a moment where your butt cheeks do clench a little bit. Scary moments, of course, but they did get through perfectly fine. That high line now is getting a bit of a charge on. With more cars in it, the easier it is. You can see there, Ryan Jones just giving Skurley a friendly push there. He's really helped him out by doing the bump draft there. Really pushing him along. Nice, good job there from Ryan Jones to try and get that high line working. Up in the back, you've got Maddie Ray as well. So these guys are starting to push their way up the field. Foster's in the pack as well. Jason Martin's going to be thinking about trying to get onto the back of this high line, I'd say. And there he goes, jumping up to the back of the high line there and trying to get this pack working with each other to try and get themselves back up towards the front of the pack. Paul Jackson, meanwhile, is going to be praying for a caution up in the lead at the moment. The 231 car is going to be hoping for a caution to come out because he is going to be needing to pit relatively soon. I'd say in around about 4 laps. Being that he's led so long as well, that's not going to be helping out his fuel mileage. Meanwhile, that high line is working very well with each other. They are really running well. They're going to be catching up to Stevie Dub, Stephen Williams in the DPR car very shortly. So lap traffic may come into this. You can see just up ahead, Stephen Williams is going to be running up on the high line, getting out of everybody's way. But it does mean you have a little bit less room to play with. You can't move out of the way. If you do get a little bit of that side draft, sometimes it can make the car a little bit wobbly where you don't want it to be. So the field are coming through now. That second line is going to come through as well. Stevie Dub just keeping it up nice and high out the way. Nice driving there. Keeping it up against the wall but not touching it. As always, seasoned professional Stevie Dub there. Good driving. The 2 lines are working it out. You can see cars just trying to decide which one they want to be in, hedging their bets at the moment. The high line is still stalling out a little bit. They're still struggling to work their way right up to the front at the moment. That front pack is working beautifully together and they are really running some good speed. It seems the low line is definitely the place to be at the moment. In these cup cars, of course, these things will be running the restrictor plates, but they have got a ridiculous amount of horsepower and, of course, the aero. And the aero is the big thing, of course. They'll be running a low downforce setting, but you do get some drag, especially off that big old rear spoiler. And that is why the cars struggle when they're not aligned astern. When you're running in a pack like this, effectively, it makes your car longer, stops the drag from happening and makes you go faster. When you're out on your own, you don't have that effect and you get stuck out there. So Paul Jackson, 27 laps, 28 laps next time across the line he's been out. It's going to be looking a little bit dicey for him soon. That caution will have helped fuel mileage a little bit, but it's not going to do too much. He is going to have to stop before the rest of the pack. The rest of the pack have got a good 15 laps on him, so it's going to really affect him unless that caution comes out. Shouldn't lose a lap here at Daytona, but you will drop off the pack, and that is probably the worst thing, because as soon as you drop off the pack, you do start losing positions quite quickly. Meanwhile, you can see Scully and Jones working together. M&M's and the Welsh Nibbler are really coming together. Fantastic pairing, it seems. Working it out with Josh Mickelmore just sitting in behind him in the 31 at the moment. How will this pan out? We'll soon find out, I am sure. So, again, that highline still seems to be struggling a little bit. Nobody seems to be enjoying it up there. It just doesn't seem to be settled out there on that highline in these cup cars. You can see them all needing to duck out and get a little bit of fresh air on the engines as well. Ruben Phelps once again giving Paul Jackson a good little bit of a push there. These guys are running fast and hard at the moment. Ruben Phelps just has to be a bit careful there, because if you do too much bump drafting, you can affect your car and you can end up blowing the engine, unfortunately. That is one of the unfortunate effects of running so close together. But there are some gaps forming a little bit in the pack now. You can see a little bit further back here, there are some gaps forming here. A few people just giving a little bit of room, and we might see somebody try and jump down to the low line soon, given that those gaps are happening. JCW is just getting a little bit of a gap from Barry Neal at the moment. Scully is going to take advantage of that, and Michael Skurlock has left his running partner Ryan Jones out to dry a little bit. Scully jumping back in the pack. Of course, this helps his fuel mileage, but it's also good news for him because he's going to gain a few positions. Ryan Jones, meanwhile, is going to start falling back a little bit. He's going to need Josh Mickelmore to help him out and push him along, get some speed going, but Ryan Jones doesn't want any more of that high line either. He's going to try and squeeze in. He can't quite make it. They're going to go 3 wide across the start-finish line right now. Ryan Jones caught in the middle between Luke Traher and Josh Mickelmore. Ryan Jones needs to try and find a spot down low. Is he going to be able to do it? He's got Aidan Schultz down there at the moment. Ryan Jones is caught piggy in the middle at the moment. This is not good news for him. This is going to make it very tricky. He manages just to get in there. Josh Mickelmore as well slips in just in front of Worley, and this has led Daniel Hedersheed out in front with his teammate Edward Foster. Not a bad combination to have. Teamwork can help out a little bit, but there are only a couple of cars up on that high line, including Danny G in the Mitch Motorsport car. 3 cars on that high line is not enough, and that is going to hemorrhage positions for those guys. They are going to fall down the field. Foster was sitting in 16th. He's now sitting in 21st position, and they're all trying to get in low once again, trying to fall in single file. And Foster and Hedersheed just sliding in just behind Scott Griffiths there. So those guys have managed to make it work, get into a position that works for them. But that was a bit of a moment for all those guys. Not what you want to have happen in a situation like that. And yeah, that high line just fell apart. Skurlock was the instigator of that one, just dropping into that low line there in the 350 machine. The Welsh Dragon just stopping that high line's charge, and yeah, he's dropped down there, of course. Help preserve a little bit of fuel. Mirko Dornak going another lap down, just keeping it out of everybody's way. Now they're running in a single file line. It's going to make things a little bit easier for them. Not quite as scary as it is when you're running in multiple cars. Whew. It has been a fantastic race so far, and we've only done 34 laps, so we've still got a long way to go. We're not even at half distance at the moment. Only the one caution here at Daytona, but we are only moments away from the big one. See Scully just having to jump out of line a little bit there, just to get some fresh air on the car, and just behind him Damon Stockton as well, just coming out of line, breaking formation for a couple of moments just to get some fresh air on the nose of that Cup car, get a little bit of clean air in the engine, help it out a little bit. So if you are watching, let me know. Feel free to leave a comment and say hello. Let me know everything's working, because that's something I do panic about, of course. Would love to know that everything is working hunky-dory. because that is that's always a streamer's nightmare, is when things go wrong. Ryan Jones trying to get that high line working again for him. Not getting any running partners though. He's going to try and use that side draft a little bit. See if he can work his way up the field a little bit as a few people move out of line, but it is not going to pay off for him right here. You can see that low line is just gluing itself together now, and Ryan Jones is going to drop back a few positions. He might even drop back to the end of the line here unless somebody is very kind and leaves him a little bit of a gap. We will soon find out, I am sure. Meanwhile, at the front, Jackson is still in the lead. Lap 36 now. He is going to be running on fumes soon. Getting very close to the limit of the Cup fuel tank. If he can make it another couple of laps, he'll be pretty happy. Of course, ideally, if you can make it 40 laps on a tank, then that works out perfectly for you for race distance, but not an easy thing to do here at Daytona. He's currently done 36 laps on that tank. Onto his 37th now, and he's going to be probably having to come into pit lane very shortly to get a little bit of go juice in that car, because otherwise he is going to be struggling if that thing starts to cough and splutter. Being in the lead so long, it will have helped Ruben Phelps behind him and Neil Pearson in third position. Those guys will have had some good fuel saving on board. That will help him out a fair bit later on in the stint for sure. Just coming up to Stephen Williams once more. Stevie Dub just on the outside. Again, going down another lap here. Unfortunately, not much you can do in a car with damage like that. And he is just out there to try and pick up some points where he can at the moment. Ruben Phelps dummying a little bit there towards pit lane. Just throwing the dummy a little bit and getting people to think maybe he was going to come in. Not to be though. Expect these cars to run as long as they possibly can, or to the point where they know they can get home on fuel. That's going to be the main thing, is getting to a stage you know you can get home on fuel. So they are going to be trying their best, and not a problem. Thank you for letting me know that things are working. Good to see you down in the chat as well, Miss Foster. It's good to see you. Yes, it's going to be a fun one. Edward Foster, meanwhile, he's running down in 21st position at the moment. Just got caught out with that second pack running. He's just in front of Jason Martin at the moment. Paul Jackson getting a bit of a lead. Looks like maybe Ruben Phelps has just backed up a little bit. So Ruben Phelps just having maybe a little bit of a moment, and that's just caused the pack to fall back a little bit there. This has given a big lead to Paul Jackson for a couple of moments. This won't last long, of course, but we will, as I said, I'm expecting to see Jackson come into pit lane relatively soon. So I can't see him sticking out there too much longer, and he does indeed come into pit lane. So lap 39 he made it to. That is going to help him get a longer stint for this second stint, of course. But he is going to fall right to the back of the pack, or at least he is going to fall. He's going to fall a lap down once the pack catches up to him. Now he is in pit lane. So good run from him all night long. But unfortunately for Jackson, the fuel is needed for him, and he's going to get into pit lane, get that fuel in, and get back out again. And you can see cars getting past him already. That's Norman and Raymond Yeager there. So he's falling down a fair bit. Coming out of pit lane now. He's going to try and keep on the lead lap, of course. The main pack are going to be a bit further back. They're just crossing the start-finish line now. So he's going to have a nice bit of free air to run in. But that's not always what you want at Daytona, because you're not going to have anybody to give you a little bit of drafting action tonight. So this could be disastrous for him come when everybody else makes pit stops, of course. When you have to make a solo pit stop, it does hurt an enormous amount. This has given Ruben Phelps a chance to lead this race just in front of Neil Pearson and Jaden Russell in the 28. Hamish Gallagher sitting in 4th position with JCW, Joshua Carroll Walden, in 5th. 6th, we have Barry Neal, Michael Skurlock. 7th, 8th is Damon Stockton. 9th is Nigel Patton. And 10th is Luke Traher in the Way Down machine. Of course, the Way Down podcast, if you're looking for some MMA action, jump on over to there. Luke Traher, of course, doing some fantastic work over in that section. Meanwhile, we can just see Ryan Jones once again trying to break formation, trying to work his way up the field a little bit, trying something a little bit different. We know Ryan likes to race hard, but he can't quite get anybody else to run up in that line for him, but he is making it work at the moment. He's using a little bit of side draft here to try and work his way up the field. If he can get this working, if he can slide in front of somebody, he could make this pay off. Meanwhile, Paul Jackson, he is being caught up to by the pack. You can see Ruben Phelps just catching up to him at a vast rate of knots. Meanwhile, the second line has started to form with Aiden Schultz there taking the lead of that second pack in front of Ryan Jones. That's going to be a pack that he hopes will actually come out and work with him. Will we see Paul Jackson just try and link up to the rest of this pack here? They're going to catch him at a vast rate of knots. Paul Jackson, of course, full tank of fuel on board. He's going to want to try and slip in and get caught up with a pack. He's going to want to try and keep up with this pack. Of course, because he is going to start falling a lap down now. So, as we saw, he had a nice big gap when he came out of pit road. But unfortunately, when you don't have anybody to run with, it hurts you immensely. He is quite lucky, though, because he's got his teammate there. You can see Barry Neal making a nice spot for him. And you can see there Paul Jackson sliding in front of Barry Neal there. His teammate doing what a teammate should do, helping him out immensely with that move. Very nice work from the Atara Autosport guys. And again, always sorry for pronunciation. Meanwhile, the top line is gaining. As you can see, Ruben Phelps just backing the pack up a little bit possibly here. Just to let Aiden Schultz work his way up there. Aiden Schultz getting very close to the wall there. Really flying through. This is going to give Ryan Jones the opportunity to get down in the middle. He's going to try and get in front of Ruben Phelps right now. Try and cut it off. You can see the teammates of the Aussie sports team trying to work together. They were trying to orchestrate a swap for the lead there to help Ruben Phelps' fuel numbers, but it didn't quite work out, and Ryan Jones really hurt them out with that one. Great move from Ryan Jones to cut the teammates off, because that's what he needed to do. He saw what was happening. He made that one pay off. If he could have got in front of Ruben Phelps, it would have been a lot better, though. So, good try there from that team, but not quite working out for them there. Meanwhile, Mirko Dornak still circling around, still trying his best to get some points tonight, but definitely struggling with that car, missing pretty much the whole front end of it now. But still pacing around, still in for a chance of getting some points, of course. The all-important points for the regular season. He's not going to be able to get into the chase, but he will hopefully try and get a good finish for the regular championship. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones is starting to fall back a little bit now, along with Aiden Schultz. They're going to start struggling a little bit with that two-car lineup unless Ruben Phelps can back that pack up again. He might be considering it here. Might be thinking, look, it's worth backing him up because my fuel numbers are going to be shot with this strategy. I'm going to have to pit so much earlier than the rest of the guys, and I'm not going to be able to have my teammate pit with me because he's stuck on the outside. One of the big things, of course, in pack racing like this is if you're stuck on the outside, you cannot pit in because the pit lane is on the inside line, of course. Michael Skurlock jumping up to the top line now. He's going to try and make it work up there. He's thinking about making a move with the rest of the guys. They're going to try and push it forwards, push up, get a few places ahead at the moment. We're on lap 46 now of 80, 47 now, I should say. The cars are absolutely flying at the moment. We've had one caution so far tonight. Let us hope that we get a green finish to this race because that's what we love to see on the super speedways, but we are only meters and seconds and moments away from the big one here at Daytona. It can come out of anywhere. You never know when it's going to strike, and when it does, it is always painful. Ryan Jones doing a good job leading that high pack at the moment. They are charging, and I've got to say, it looks like possibly Ruben's just trying to ease off a little bit. He's trying to slow down the rest of the pack. Michael Skurlock dropping back into line on that lower pack line now. That's going to hurt those high line guys out. They are really, really trying to push for that high line to work at the moment. They can't make it happen. This is terrible news for them. They really want to make it work, and it's just not happening for them. Ruben, meanwhile, wants to try and get some fuel numbers on that car, try and get into a position where he can actually make it work. Can't quite make it happen at the moment. And Neil Pearson's just sitting there rubbing his hands, same as Jaden Russell, going, look, this is fine for me. Ryan Jones sliding in front of Paul Jackson there. Nice job from Ryan there. Just slipping it in there and managing to gain a handful of positions. And this is going to hurt Aiden Schultz. He is going to start dropping back like he has got a bag of stones tied to that car now. There is a bit of a gap forming up towards the back of the pack at the moment. You can see there on the long shot there's a little bit of a gap back to Hedersheed at the moment. Hedersheed leading the rest of the pack. And there are cars coming into pit lane. We have got the first of the green flag stops happening. It is Jaden Russell, the first of those cars. Sorry, as I try and get to those areas. Joshua Carroll-Walden sliding it into the box there. Hamish Gallagher in as well. How are these pit stops going to go? Pit stops always dangerous, of course. This is where accidents can happen. Jason Martin in too. They're going to chuck fuel in there. You can see a few people chucking right side tyres on. Looks like Hamish Gallagher's decided not to put any tyres on. A few people deciding to stay out on those tyres. Of course, you lose a little bit of time with tyre stops. They are battling as they come out of pit lane. Joshua Carroll-Walden making the best of that one, getting ahead of Hamish Gallagher. Jaden Russell falling in behind Hamish. So, the first group of cars deciding they're going to pit have made the stop happen. And they know they can get home from here. So, they have decided to pull the pin and come in now. When does the rest of the field pull into pit lane? That's the big question now. How long are they going to stick it out for? Jason Martin goes a lap down now. You can see Hedersheed there caught up behind Scott Griffiths. It's not where he wants to be. Scott Griffiths has got some damage to him as well. So Hedersheed falling back a lap 2. So this is going to be painful for those guys. You can see now the two packs forming. Those guys coming out of pit lane, they're going to want to try and stick there. They need to keep on the lead lap just in case a caution comes out. Raymond Yeager, Norman Clark coming into pit lane at the moment. At the lead of this pack is Joshua Carroll-Walden. He's got Hamish Gallagher behind him with Jaden Russell and Josh Micklemore, Edward Foster there. Dave Douglas just coming out of pit lane at the moment, I think. So, Double D, Dave Douglas trying to slip it up there, get into position at the moment. And he's going to slide it in there, and it is all higgledy-piggledy at the moment. The leader of the race is down here. This is Ruben Phelps, the leader of the race at the moment. He's caught up behind Edward Foster. Those guys that have pitted are going to stick it out there. Ruben Phelps coming into pit lane as well as Neil Pearson. So the rest of the guys coming into pit lane, got to make sure you don't lock up the tyres here. This can be a moment of terror as the... Oh, we've got a spinner. We've got Aiden Schultz round. Aiden Schultz has gone round in pit lane. Disastrous for Schultzy there. Did he get a little bit of help? I think he did. I think that might have been the 041 of... yeah, there. It was the 041 of Andrew Dyson. I think that is... Yeah, Andrew Dyson there getting into Aiden Schultz. That is disastrous for their stops. That's really going to cost them a lot of time. Meanwhile, up the front, we have got all kinds of action going on. Michael Skurlock is going to come into pit lane with Ryan Jones. Oh, Edward Foster so close to contact there. That was moments away from disaster for Foster. Let's see if we can run back and have a look, see what happened there. Somebody coming into pit lane, I think it was. Might not have been Foster, sorry. I saw somebody get very close there to Stevie Dubb, so that was almost a big moment there as Stevie Dubb was just on that low line as people were coming into pit lane. Barry Neal, meanwhile, has cycled round to the lead of the race. Running in the pack is going to help him out an enormous amount because he will have kept some speed. Barry Neal is leading the race now, of course. He's going to need to make one more stop. But he has got an enormous advantage over the rest of the field. So, Barry Neal has got a lead over the guys that stopped, of course. So, he effectively leads this race over Luke Trahere and Brian Jones at the moment. Michael Skurlock is in 3rd position. Neil Pearson is next in line in 5th. Then we have Damon Stockton and Ruben Phelps. So it has all gone to, it has changed quite a lot. There is quite a few moments. It's all Neil Pearson and Stockton doing a little bit of bump drafting there just in the corner. Pearson getting a little bit loose. Managed to save it, but that was almost a big moment. Barry Neal, meanwhile, he is coming into pit lane for his second stop. Same as Luke Traher. These guys needing to come in now and get the rest of their fuel. Ryan Jones is going to become the effective race leader with Michael Skurlock now. You can see Neil Pearson running up that high line with Damon Stockton and Ruben Phelps. They're going to try and run it up now. The cars are all split up. There are gaps all across the field at the moment. You can see Pearson and Stockton there really bump drafting. You can see Stockton all over the back of Pearson trying to push his teammate along, trying to get him into the lead of the race. Stockton getting very wiggly there, but he has managed to get Pearson up in front. Pearson's going to slide down in front of Ryan Jones and take the effective lead of the race. Ruben Phelps drops in behind Skurlock. Will Stockton fall in there? Yes, he does. Just about makes it in front of Ruben Phelps, who led for so long in this race. Great moving there. That was real dicey stuff from DPR, but they made it work, getting Neil Pearson into the lead of this race. Sorry, to second place. Barry Neal is still in the lead of the race. Sorry. Barry Neal still in the lead technically. So he has got a decent run at the moment. But he's going to get caught up to here. So you can see the pack catching up to Barry Neal, just going past him at a vast rate of knots. Barry Neal's going to be able to slide onto the back of Ruben Phelps now. That worked out very well for Barry Neal. You can see the next train of cars catching up with Joshua Carroll-Walden on the lead of that pack now. So Barry Neal is going to try his best to get a little bit of slipstreaming here, catch up to the back of Ruben Phelps. He can't quite do it. He's going to try and slide in somewhere. He needs to get a drafting partner working here, otherwise he's going to hemorrhage positions. JCW might be the salvation he needs at the moment. JCW just falling in front of Barry Neal, and he's going to start pushing him along. JCW now, leader of that secondary pack, but it's Neil Pearson leading the race. And number 9, just in front of Ryan Jones in the 1111. Damon Stockton is in 4th position. Just ahead is Michael Skurlock in the 350. So this front pack has got a great position working for them at the moment. We've seen how hard it is for that high line to work. And now that secondary pack has caught up to them. Heddersheed is at the back of that at the moment. He is going to want to try and catch up to Foster. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, we've got side-by-side action with Philip Woolley and Luke Traher. Riley Curtis and Paul Jackson as well. These guys are going to be really dicing it out. Try and get their fight going on. So good racing throughout the field at the moment. Keeping it green still. Dave Douglas still trying his best to work his way up after that early mistake. Not quite getting it there. Whereabouts did we see Aiden Schultz come out? Let's have a little bit of a look-see down the field. Aiden Schultz is on his own at the moment. Unfortunately, a fair bit down in 24th position after that contact in pit lane. Andrew Dyson did manage to get into that pack, so he's going to keep a fairly brisk pace now. He's just next to Jason Martin, of course, the pole sitter of the race, who got caught out on that high line early on. He's got Danny G in front of him to help him out. So teammates are linking up here. Danny G in his unusually not orange car, the blue and white of Danny G at the moment, is trying to help him out. But meanwhile, at the front, Ryan Jones has taken the lead ahead of Neil Pearson. Ryan Jones, pushing as hard as ever, has taken the lead of the race and is where he wants to be. We're on lap 58 of 80. 22 laps remaining now. We're coming towards the end of this race. We've had just the one caution earlier on, and hopefully we won't see another, because we are seeing some great draft action going on tonight. Great racing throughout the field. You've got to say at the moment, Neil Pearson is going to want to try his best to get up there. He's got a teammate behind him in Damon Stockton. Looking good for DPR at the moment. They've got some bullets in their gun. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, we have the first Atari car of Joshua Carroll-Walden. Barry Neal doing a great job in the Atari car, getting up to 5th position. He's going to want to try and hold that spot for himself. Fast charges throughout the field as well. We've got some very fast cars a little bit further down the field than normal, and they are just going to be wanting to work their way up the field if they can. But we know that high line isn't working. They're just going to hold back to that last lap and try for a fast charge. We do see it on super speedways, of course. running it out at the last minute, trying to get across the line, trying to make that fast charge. But will we see it tonight? That is the question. Hamish Gallagher there, he has got his teammate tantalisingly close. Between him and Josh Micklemore at the moment is Michael Skylock and Jaden Russell. They can't quite work their way up there, but if they can link it up, they could possibly make something work. So watch out for teammates. Teammates can help an enormous amount on super speedways. It's all about team action, team playing, and working together on a super speedway like this. It's very hard to do anything on your own, as Aiden Schultz is finding out, unfortunately, down in 24th position. He's pretty much a man out of position after that incident in pit lane. He has really been cost there. Very unfortunate for him. The Black Cats, Broken Mirrors have all been doing their job for poor old Aiden Schultz once more. Could have been much worse, of course, but not perfect for him, not what he wants to have happen. Meanwhile, cars coming up to some lap traffic at the moment. You can see there the 23 of Raymond Yeager and Norman Clark just falling back a little bit. They sort of fell out of position, unfortunately, just getting out a little bit, unable to find any draft partners, and they're going to fall a lap down. But you'll probably see Norman Clark link up to the back of his teammate here. This could be good for Natari Autosport, because they will have 3 cars up towards the back end of this pack. They could possibly look at running a draft together, trying to get something working later in the race. So there are still 18 laps remaining, of course, and we might see Natari try and get their drivers up a little bit further in the pack. They've already got JCW up there running in 6th position. Foster down in 12th, Heddersheed in 13th position at the tail end of this pack, but they're running past their teammate of Norman Clark, who has some damage to the back. But if he can help push his teammates along, I'm sure he will try his best. So we'll see what he can do. You can see Clark and Yeager there just dropping in behind now, and they'll just link up and hold on to the back of there. If the caution flag comes out, of course, Norman Clark will be the first car a lap down and will get the lucky dog. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones still in the lead over Neil Pearson. Damon Stockton in 3rd position. Those 2 DPR cars are looking pretty good at the moment. Nice to have teammates working together and come towards the final run. Ryan Jones might be left to hang out to dry. He is going to struggle at the last lap if it stays as it is. So you've got to say it's looking good for Neil Pearson at the moment. Don't discount Ruben Phelps. We've seen him pull the cork out the bottle before. We'll see what he can do tonight. We'll see what miracles he can play off. Biggest gainer so far is the leader, Ryan Jones. 20 positions gained in this race. Fantastic driving from Mr. Jones, of course. Great to see him out there and racing. Great to see a fellow commentator doing a good job, of course. Commentators, they are better than you think at driving sometimes, until they crash. Cough, cough, hint, hint. So we will be back on FGM eCast next week, and we will have highlights packages on FGM eCast as well, so make sure to check them out. Make sure to head over to FGM eCast, your place for e-pace, and give that page a like and a subscribe as well, because it really helps out. You can catch me there pretty much every night of the week, of course, doing commentary. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday for Anzcar and Ozpass commentary. Look at Neil Pearson now. He's starting to run up to Ryan Jones. Just trying to get an idea of where Ryan Jones has got the speed, where he doesn't. Doing a little bit of investigation there. Meanwhile, that secondary pack led by Luke Trahere is starting to catch up. Riley Curtis leading in 2nd place with that one. You've also got Paul Jackson, of course, the long-time race leader with Dave Douglas. Paul Jackson managing to salvage a relatively good position after that strategy call. He could have been caught out with that one a lot more than he was. Just looking throughout the field, Paul Jackson, he should be able to make it. Oh, I think Paul Jackson is going to struggle to get to the end, so he's going to need a caution still, I think. So Might not be good news for Paul Jackson yet. He might need to come in for one more stop. But we'll see how that one pays out as the race goes on. But yeah, there will be some highlights on FGM eCast, of course. So make sure to head on over there. And also a big shout out to Locked On iRacing, Locked On Lads. Give them a check out on Facebook and YouTube, because they are doing some fantastic work, keeping everybody up to date with Australian racing action, all the Anzcar action and Ozpass as well as some other leagues, and doing some great interviews with people as well. They had FGM's own Stuart on there the other day, Stuart Brown, who gave a great interview, so give that one a check out too. Meanwhile, Ryan Jones still in the lead, doing a great job at the moment, pushing that car forwards. I think always aggressive Ryan Jones has done a great job tonight of working his way up through the field. But keep an eye on the Tari. Watch out for Foster, Hedersheed and Norman Clark. Those three cars have linked up on track at the moment, and they might try for a late run. It's getting towards that now. We've got 12 laps remaining, so not far to go. Of course, it is a relatively big track here at Daytona, 4 kilometres long. About a 45-second lap, 46-second lap it takes, so it's still a bit of time left to play out some action, but you don't want to leave it too late. You need to start thinking about the end of the race now. When it gets so late in the race, you need to start thinking about what you're going to do. How are you going to make it work? How are you going to make the passes work? Where are you going to make the passes? So we'll see who can make it right and who can make it wrong. But at the moment, this man, Neil Pearson, is looking good. He's got his teammate Damon Stockton just behind him. So in a very good position at the moment is Neil Pearson, sitting there in P2 with Damon Stockton in second place. We'll see how this one can work out. Second line starting to fall up just behind him. Luke Traher now leading that second line. That second group of cars has caught up finally, and they're going to try and run that second line now. This is where somebody in the top field is going to think about jumping out, see what they can do, see what they can salvage, see if they can actually push their way forwards. With 11 laps remaining now, we're coming towards the end of this race. Who's going to jump up there? It looks like Hedersheed's going to make the move. He makes a bit of a half move there. That's not good for him. That's going to cost him there. You can see Luke Traher gets caught out by that. He has to run up high. Hedersheed is caught in the middle at the moment, just in front of Riley Curtis. Hedersheed is in a bit of trouble. He's going to start dropping back. It looks like Norman Clark might try and make a position for him. He blocks it out and gives Hedersheed the chance to drop down there. Will Luke Traher do the same? Try and jump in front of Hedersheed and try and block off that team from working it out. Looks like Luke is going to try and run it out at the front. He wants to try and make this high line work. Right behind him is Riley Curtis, pushing him along effectively. Meanwhile, at the front, not much move, not much change here as it stands. Still Ryan Jones in the lead, Neil Pearson in second. Main thing to look out for at the moment is this second line forming up with Luke Traher at the front. You can see a few cars thinking about trying to jump on it at the moment. A lot of cars have abandoned Luke. Riley Curtis is still there, but everybody else is moving out the way. Meanwhile, we are coming up to some lap traffic. I think that might be Aiden Schultz. Coming up to Aiden Schultz right there. Yes, it is Aiden Schultz falling down a lap, unfortunately, from that pit stop incident with himself and Andrew Dyson. The beautiful sound of V8 engines as they rumble across the Daytona circuit, of course. The Highline, again, not really working out. Definitely not paying off tonight, the Highline. So they are struggling to make it work, and they are falling back again. So once more, the Highline isn't working out. We've got 8 laps remaining here at Daytona. You can see Aiden Schultz just caught in the middle here. Piggy in the middle at the moment. They are 3 wide now. And you can see Dyson just on the back of Luke Traher, just pushing him along at the moment, trying to make this Highline work. Dave Douglas there now as well. This is where things can get a bit dicey. This is where a caution could come out. Are we going to see one? Right here. It is very dicey action, but they have managed to get it locked up again. They're managing to keep it there. 8 laps remaining. We're on lap 73 now of 80. Up the front, not much change, but there is a bit of a gap formed. Ruben Phelps has dropped off a little bit, and this has let Neil Pearson, Stockton and Ryan Jones run away. Ryan Jones in the lead still, but Ryan Jones is not in an enviable position. Leading at Daytona is not always where you want to be, especially on the last lap. Neil Pearson should be able to get a slingshot here, and he might be able to get a win here at Daytona. We'll find out, though. Meanwhile, Ruben Phelps, he's going to try and use the draft and try and slingshot himself up around. He's going to try his best to make this work. You can see Ruben Phelps, he's got the draft. He's slung himself up there to that high line. Will he be able to get past Stockton? That's going to be the biggest hurdle for him. Will anybody join him on the outside line? Doesn't look like it. He needs somebody to help him out right now, and nobody's going to do it. Ruben Phelps is going to fall like a stone through water here. It's not going to pay off for Phelps. He is going to fall down the pack. Nobody wanting to help him out at the moment. 6.5 laps to go. Ryan Jones still in the lead. Neil Pearson in second. Ruben Phelps plummeting down the field now. Ruben Phelps down into 10th place. Josh Mickelmore just getting past him now. Phelps is going to drop all the way to the back. At least he tried. That's what you got to say. At least he tried for it. But it did not pay off for him there. Neil Pearson still thinking about the move, and he's just probably seen Ruben Phelps fall back there and struggle. So you see Pearson now just starting to back up a little bit with his teammate Stockton. They're going to try for a bit of a slingshot soon. You can see Neil Pearson come up, get the draft off of Ryan Jones, try and slingshot around him. You're going to see Damon Stockton all over the back of Pearson like a rash. Bump drafting him along. And this will be the move for the win. You can see the high line forming now. JCW has taken the high line. That second line's formed. Michael Skurlock down on the low line at the moment. It's all starting to come together. We've got 5 laps remaining here at Daytona. Looks like Ruben Phelps, and we've got a car around. We've got a crash. It looks like Luke Trahair's gone around. Big accident there, and we've got a caution at Daytona. Let us see if we can find out what happened there. Going back in time. So, looks like there was a bit of... Ooh. Looks like maybe Dave Douglas made a little bit of contact with... Let's just see from a different camera angle here. Let's go to the old blimp. So it looks like Dave Douglas may have just touched Luke's back end there. Luke's got unsettled. Couldn't quite get it back. Then got up into Dyson, into Dave Douglas, and then a big old accident. Not much you can do in that situation. And up into Matty Raymond there. Matty Ray getting just caught out. Really unfortunate for him. Scott Griffiths as well. Those guys really getting caught out. Let's just jump into the old... interior cam and watch from Matty Ray's position. Nothing you can do in a situation like that. Matty Ray just getting caught out completely. That is disastrous for him. This is going to lead us to a green-white checker, I would say, as Ryan Jones is going to be in the prime position. As I try and get the camera right. Ryan Jones is going to be in a prime position at the moment. I think Aiden Schultz was the first car a lap down, so he's going to be able to get the lucky dog here, get back onto the lead lap, so that could help him out a little bit. But you were always only moments away from the big one here at Daytona. And that wasn't the biggest of big ones, but it definitely was enough to cause a fair few cars to drop out of contention. Looks like Michael Skurlock received some damage as well just after that caution. So Skurley's got some damage to the back end of that car. Let's just jump back and see where that came from. So I'll just rewind a little bit here. Just wondering if there was a bit of a checkup and he got caught out in it. No. Okay, he's had that damage for a while then, Mr. Scully. So, not sure where he got that damage from, but... Oh, well, it's tricky to find out sometimes. So, Aiden Schultz is going to get a wave past and get back on the lead lap. That's good news for him. Dave Douglas, Matty Ray, Paul Jackson and Scott Griffiths into pit lane. Paul Jackson coming in for his fuel stop, so that's good news for him. So he's actually been able to make that fuel stop under a caution at least. He would have been getting a little bit desperate for fuel, no doubt. But that's going to drop him right to the back of the pack. Neil Pearson will start on the outside lane. Ryan Jones on the inside lane. David Stockton will be behind Pearson. And Barry Neal will be behind... Sorry, will be behind Pearson. So that's going to move the teammates around a little bit. They're going to have to work that out. Yeah, I think I remember Scully getting that quite early on in the race as well. I just re-noticed it again. I think I forgot about the damage from earlier in the race. Trouble when you're solo calling, your brain forgets things as you're going through it, unfortunately. Okay, let's see how this one goes. So let's run through the top 10 as the pace car is going to go around for at least one more lap. So first place we have Ryan Jones, second we have Neil Pearson, third David Stockton, fourth is Barry Neal, fifth is Scully, sixth is Russell, seventh is Josh Bicklemore, Carol Walden in eighth, ninth is Hamish Gallagher, Nigel Patton in 10th at the moment. They're going to start forming up side by side and we are going to get the flag drop. We'll have a couple of laps to run here. It's going to be very much coming to the end of the race. Who can do it? Who can make this work? Will we see another accident? That's going to be the big question right now. Will they be able to get through this one without any trouble? We'll find out that and much, much more when we go back to live racing here at Daytona for the Anzcar Cup, the final race of the regular season. We'll be back with you next week, of course, back on FGM eCast at Darlington. Not Donington, that is Darlington. Of course, for the first race of the chase. And Michael Scullock will be wanting to get a good result with that one. If he can get the win, he will get a nice gift for that one. Pace car will be coming in this lap. Ryan Jones will be thinking, what can I do right now? What can I do to win this race? Neil Pearson will be wanting to try and link up with Stockton, of course. Try get some help from his teammate. But they're not in prime positions. Barry Neal will be sitting there thinking, I've got a chance for this race right now. Got people a little bit further back in 8th place, like Josh Carroll Walden, thinking, alright, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can salvage from this race. Pace car comes in. Ryan Jones is going to lead away. When does he go green? When does it go green? He's waiting, he's waiting, he's waiting. He's dropped the pedal. Barry Neal is going to get a slap on the wrist for lane changing there. Barry Neal just dropping down to the low line before the line there. But Neil Pearson has got a good start. Neil Pearson getting away quite cleanly. Ryan Jones is going to need to get a bit of a push, and he does indeed from Barry Neal. Barry Neal's blocked off teammates. You can see contact there between Barry Neal and Neil Pearson. Gone around. That's a big accident. The big one has happened. Cars everywhere. Ryan Jones is in the lead. He's managed to stay out in front as we are coming through for the checkered flag. Looks like Michael Skurlock might be in second place at the moment with Neil Pearson there. Huge accident at the tail end of this race. Will Skurley be able to get the run here on Ryan Jones? It's going to be very close. Michael Skurlock making a run. Ryan Jones losing the rear end. They're going to make contact. Skurlock makes contact into Ryan Jones. Jones gets caught up. Makes the win though. I think, no, Neil Pearson takes the win. Was Neil Pearson getting across the line in first place? Was it? No, Ryan Jones did. Sorry, my timing has just been playing around a little bit there. I'll just need to wait for that one to come back. Looks like Ryan Jones sliding across the line there, but still in first place, most importantly. Let's just jump to a different camera angle. You can see there, Neil Pearson trying to squeeze past, caught the back of Ryan Jones there, spinning him around. Skurley didn't quite make it, but he did make it into third. Josh Bicklemore working it up there. Wait, where's Skurley gone? Did Skurlock get a penalty for that? Skurlock's dropped down to 22nd place. So not sure what's happened there. So Skurly has dropped down, so that is giving Josh Micklemore that place. So Josh Micklemore has taken out 2nd place on my timing screens. And Joshua Carroll Walden in 4th. 5th place is Edward Foster. 6th place, Hamish Gallagher. Paul Jackson in 7th. 8th for Damon Stockton. Dave Douglas in 9th. Aidan Schultz made it home in 10th position. Let's just go back a lap and see if we can find out exactly what happened with that accident. Big wreck towards the end there. We did see a huge accident forming up, so let's quickly see if we can find out exactly what happened on that restart. So it looks like Stockton has got pushed down a little bit. There's been quite a bit of contact, and it looks like Stockton has got into the side of Neil there. Spun him around, and then there's been a secondary accident a little bit further back as the 28 of Jaden Russell, I think that is, just caught up against the wall, just choking, avoiding action. Foster got very lucky to avoid that incident. You can see his teammate of Heathersheet getting taken out there, as well as Johnny G. That was a crazy finish there. Quite a few cars caught up in that incident. But it is Ryan Jones taking the victory, taking the win from the Daytona race sideways across the line. Alrighty. Well, I might just grab Ryan Jones up here quickly for a quick chat on the stream while, well, I see him sitting in the green room. G'day, Ryan.
G'day.
How's it going, mate?
Oh, yeah, not bad.
A little bit sideways there at the end.
Oh, yeah. Probably the best block I've ever done, I think.
Congratulations on the win.
Yeah, look, I didn't see that one coming after I had about half a straightaway on them down the back straight. I thought I was getting run down like no tomorrow, but yeah, well-timed block that, looking on the replay, I probably could have committed to even more, but yeah, just got away with it, and I don't know what to say.
It ended up paying off for you in the end. Yeah, sideways across the finish line there. That's a stylish win for you.
Yeah, it is. It's good fun to get one of these on the super speedways. I normally end up with some form of bad luck, whether it's an Anzcar or officials. I'll throw a bad block and get slaughtered coming to the line, or I'll get caught up in a crash whether I'm trying to play it safe or be aggressive. So, yeah, I managed to miss there on the yellow, even though it happened just in front of me, and I had a couple big lobs to get through the field, and strategy worked out, and yeah, was there when it mattered, finally.
Yeah, finally, and doing a great job for commentators all around the world, as always. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, mate, 100%. Got to represent.
Absolutely. Look, tonight we're streaming it on my channel because Stuart's away from FGME Cast, but we'll be doing a highlights package. Just thought I'd grab you up here for a quick shout out. So, I mean, look, if you want to shout out to anybody, go for it. You can do whatever you want, mate.
Just big shout out to Mum, as always, who's taken on my streak of bad luck recently and decided that watching me is the way to cure my bad luck. And apparently that's working, because I've won tonight, so there we go.
Oh, look, that's good news. Look, I wish your mum all the best, of course. I hope she's doing better. And you keep yourself well, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Carl.
Have a good one. See ya.
Bye.
So Ryan Jones there, race winner. A fantastic job from him. I've got a few more just jumping up to the old green room. Let's see what I can grab next. Got Neil Pearson up there. We'll grab him down for a quick hello. G'day, Neil. How's it going, mate?
Oh, not too bad, Carl. How you going, buddy?
Oh, yeah, she's pretty alright, mate. We are broadcasting out on my channel tonight because the FGME Cast headquarters is currently being renovated and rebuilt. So we just did a pretty laid-back, easy stream tonight.
Good stuff.
P2 for yourself, mate.
Yeah, pretty happy with that.
I imagine you would have wanted it to go a bit green a bit longer there towards the end, because it was looking like you and Mr. Stockton were going to work a bit of magic towards the end there.
Yeah, we were trying. I was hoping it was going to stay green, but Ryan was he's pretty cluey when it comes to these restricted plate races, from the look of it. Because every time I slowed up to get a run on him, he would slow up, and I think at one stage we were about a second and a half slower than what we could do with a flat stick. So, yeah, he was on to me. He knew what he was doing. So, yeah, it was going to be interesting.
Now, look, you went well up there. You've got yourself up from P7 to P2 in the end. I mean, like, obviously, Super Speedway is not the easiest of places, but this is good news for the old chase coming into it, of course, because you're now you're officially locked in now, aren't you? Pretty much. So you must be excited heading into that one with such a strong finish as well.
Yeah, it was good. I was hoping Micklemore was going to have a bit of a rubbish run, not going to lie. If I worked it out, if he finished 17th or lower and I won, I would have taken the the 26 regular season championship. But unfortunately, he just had that 20 points on me, and him finishing third, it's just he's got it, and he's driven well all season, and really consistently, and that's got him the win, for the regular season championship.
No, look, it's been a strong season for you. Hopefully, you'll do some good runs in the chase. I wish you luck. Look, whatever you want to shout out, go for it, mate. As I said, we're live on my channel tonight, so whatever you want to do, just have fun.
I just want to thank you for broadcasting. It was a good race, and I won't bother with the sponsors tonight, but just the team and the dudes. It was a good fun race, so it's always fun.
Great to hear from you, Neil. Look, have a good one. I'm sure we'll catch you back on FGM soon, and catch you in the chase.
Yeah, Darlington next week. I'm seriously looking forward to that one.
Cheers, Neil. All right, let's drag up third place man and regular championship. Well, the regular championship leader and winner, I'd say, from that one, Mr. Josh Micklemore. Congratulations on P3 there, mate.
Oh, hey, Carl. Yeah, cheers, man. It was a interesting race again.
Yeah, it got a little bit sketchy there at the end. That last lap looked like it was a pretty scary moment on the old restart there. How did you get through the carnage?
Yeah, it all happened pretty quickly, mate. Everyone was sort of just spinning out, and I just held my line and just drove through it. But it wasn't too bad. I actually thought it was going to be a green-white checker, but it ended up just being one lap, which is a bit unfortunate. But here's what it is. I'm glad to just finish the race up in the pointy end tonight, and like you said, grab that normal championship win, I guess.
Yeah, look, I mean, you can't complain too much about getting the regular championship win. I mean, it's going to help a little bit in the old chase, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think we got, with the way that the lad is, I think I'll get one extra point at the start of the chase, which is, it's only one position, but still, is what it is.
Well, I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean,
Can't complain.
That's it. Now, look, congratulations on P3. Congratulations on the regular season championship. And I mean, you must be excited getting into the chase, of course. You feeling good about it?
Yeah, hell yeah. We're able to get all 4 cars into the chase as well. So very, very happy about that, and all the other boys putting in the hard work throughout the whole year. So big congrats to all the guys on the team, and it's been a killer season so far.
Absolutely. Look, best of luck in the chase, mate. We'll be back on FGM next week, but if you want to do any shout outs, go for it.
Yes, to Mum and Dad for watching, and you, Cal, for streaming it as well. I didn't actually know you were streaming tonight, so there you go.
Oh, look, I thought I'd surprise you. I was bored. I don't have anything better to do in my life generally. I thought it was probably best I stream after last night's performance in the Xfinity as well.
Wrecking the field.
Okay, I got to drive at least once a year and wreck at least 10 people. It's on the to-do list. All right, look, cheers, Josh. Have a great one. I'll catch you again soon, mate.
No worries, buddy. Cheers, mate.
Alrighty, so that is the end of that. That's the end of the race. Look, big thanks to everybody out there. Big thanks to everybody watching tonight, of course. Remember to head over to FGM eCast to watch the rest of the chase, of course, as well as highlights packages. We will be back again soon. Thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed this kind of, I don't know, a little bit laid backy sort of stream. Something a bit different for you guys. Pleasure to do it as always. And I will see you all again back on FGM Ecast next week. Alright, till next time, this is me, Carl, Screezilla, whatever we want to call myself.